Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in every life when the noise gets too loud. The noise of fear, the noise of insecurity, the noise of people who say you'll never reach the place you were born to reach. But hear me today, you cannot walk into victory while entertaining the whispers of defeat. Some of you have been held hostage by the voice that lives inside your own mind. It tells you that your past disqualifies you, that your mistakes define you, that your dream is too big and you are too small. But today we silence that voice. We silence it because it has lied to you long enough. You are not the sum of what came against you. You are the proof that storms can hit and faith can still stand. If you are breathing, there is purpose left in you. There is destiny still unfolding. There is ground to take and victories waiting on your arrival. Listen, the battles you've fought were never meant to break you. They were preparing you. Every tear watered your strength. Every setback sharpened your resilience. Every season of silence taught you how to hear truth over noise. Break free from the words that say you can't. Stop rehearsing the soundtrack of defeat. Stop replaying the memory of who hurt you, who betrayed you, who left you standing alone. They were not connected to your future. If they could leave, then they were never part of the victory written over your life. Step into alignment with people who speak life, people who call greatness out of you, people who push you toward your assignment. Because deep inside you there is a calling greater than your fear. There is an assignment stronger than your doubt. And there is a victory with your name on it. Declare over your life, I am built for this. I am equipped for this. I will not be stopped. Before the victory shows up, speak it. Before the door opens, knock on it. Before the breakthrough comes, prepare for it. You don't wait for victory to celebrate. You celebrate because you believe. And belief is what silences doubt. So walk forward with boldness. Take hold of your purpose. Rise above every fear that told you to sit still. The one who placed the dream in you already placed the strength in you to bring it to pass. Your victory is not summed. It begins the moment you silence the voice of doubt. Stand tall, stand confident, victory is waiting, prepare for it, walk toward it. Live in it. The loudest battle you will ever fight is not the one raging outside your walls, but the one rising inside your mind. Long before life tells you no, doubt whispers it. It begins quietly, like a breeze that seems harmless, yet if you listen long enough, it becomes a storm that shakes every foundation of who you are. Silence is not the absence of noise. It is the intentional refusal to allow fear to be the loudest voice in the room. The first step toward victory is learning to distinguish between truth and the internal chatter that seeks to shrink you. There are voices that tell you you're not enough, not skilled enough, not worthy enough, not educated enough. They remind you of mistakes you made 10 years ago, failures you've already healed from, and chapters you've long closed. These voices try to chain you to what God has already freed you from. They feed on your insecurities and exaggerate them until you believe them more than the truth planted inside you. You must silence these whispers, because doubt affects how you see yourself. It distorts your identity. It makes you believe that weakness is permanent, that brokenness is final, that limitation is all you will ever know. The battlefield of destiny always begins in your thoughts. If the mind is contaminated with fear, the heart will drown in hesitation. But when the mind is soaked in truth, courage rises like a flood. Silencing doubt is not pretending the storm doesn't exist. It is choosing not to bow to it. There will be days when fear knocks, when uncertainty speaks, when confusion tries to take root, but you have authority over what you allow to stay. Not every thought deserves a seat at your table. Some thoughts must be escorted out immediately. When doubt rises, you shut it down with truth. When fear speaks, you speak louder. When insecurity visits, you remind yourself that you were created with intention. You silence doubt by guarding what you listen to. If you constantly feed on negativity, you will think negativity. If you constantly compare your journey to others, you will feel behind even when you are on schedule. The voices you give attention to will shape the life you live. This is why you must be careful with music, with conversations, with environments. Some voices do not deserve access to your spirit. Victory demands discipline in what you hear. Silencing doubt also requires being honest with yourself. You can't conquer what you refuse to confront. Acknowledge the fear, but don't surrender to it. Recognize the concern, but don't live under it. Identify the insecurity, but don't let it define you. The moment you identify doubt, you strip it of its power to operate in hiding. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of silence, stronger, wiser, bolder. When the internal volume of faith rises, doubt loses its strength. Sometimes you must speak to yourself the words no one else is speaking. You must encourage yourself. You must remind yourself of battles you already won that once felt impossible. You've survived worse than this. You've risen from ashes before. You've walked through nights that felt endless, yet here you are. That alone is evidence that doubt's story is not the final chapter. Victory is never given to the quiet believer who stays silent while fear speaks. Victory comes to the one who opens their mouth and declares, "I am more than what I feel. I am greater than what I fear. I am stronger than what I see." Silence the voice that says you cannot. Speak the truth that you can, and watch victory take shape in your life. You are not defined by the echoes of your insecurity. You are defined by the truth of who you are and who you were created to become. Doubt often places labels on your soul, labels born from pain, from failure, from moments that wounded you when you were least prepared. Those labels cling to your identity like shadows, whispering lies that try to convince you that your limitations are permanent. But hear this: identity is not formed in failure. Identity is revealed in purpose. What you went through was an event, not a definition. It shaped you, but it does not name you. Insecurity is a master storyteller, painting pictures of inadequacy. It highlights the places where you fell short, where you weren't chosen, where you made mistakes. And then it convinces you that these snapshots represent your entire existence. It takes temporary moments and turns them into lifelong sentences. But identity speaks a different language. Identity reminds you that you were created with intention. You are not an accident. You are not a coincidence. You are the product of divine strategy. You may have walked through seasons where your confidence was shaken, where people overlooked you, where betrayal stung, where loss weighed heavy on your soul. In those seasons, insecurity gains volume. It tells you that if you had been more, they would have stayed. If you were better, you would not have fallen. If you were stronger, you would not have broken. But identity steps in and says, even in weakness, you are chosen. Even in failure, you are valuable. Even in brokenness, you are purposeful. When you know who you are, insecurity cannot control you. People may try to define you by what they see, but your identity reaches deeper than surface labels. They may see where you are, but identity knows where you're going. They may highlight what you lack, but identity highlights what you carry. The world says you are average. Identity says you are unique. The world says you are too damaged. Identity says you are being refined. The world says you are unqualified. Identity says you are equipped. To walk in identity, you must release the weight of comparison. Comparison is a thief that steals joy, confidence, clarity. When you measure your journey against another's progress, you invite insecurity to play judge over your destiny. You feel smaller not because you lack greatness, but because you're looking at someone else's assignment. You were never meant to mirror another person's path. Your identity carries a design that only fits you. If you try to wear someone else's purpose, it will feel uncomfortable because it was never tailored for you. Every day, you must choose which voice gets authority, the voice of insecurity that points to who you were, or the voice of identity that declares who you are becoming. Identity speaks truth even when circumstances disagree. Identity reminds you that you are capable even when fear says you're not. Identity whispers courage when insecurity screams limitations. The moment you embrace your true identity, your posture changes. You stop apologizing for being who you are. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop burying your gifts because someone else doesn't understand them. You stand tall in who you were created to be even when others don't see your value yet. Because identity is not validated by applause, it is validated by purpose. You must learn to speak over your life. Speak strength into your weakness. Speak courage into your fear. Speak promise into your uncertainty. Do not let insecurity tell you who you are. Tell insecurity who you are not. You are not a mistake. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are enough. When identity takes the lead, insecurity loses its power. You step boldly into opportunities that once intimidated you. You pursue dreams you once thought were unreachable. You see yourself through the lens of possibility instead of limitation. You realize that every scar is proof that you survived. Every setback is evidence that you are still in the fight. And every moment of doubt is an invitation to anchor yourself deeper in truth. Walk in your identity. Let it speak louder than insecurity. Let it shape your decisions, your relationships, your dreams. You are more than your fear. You are more than your past. You are who you were designed to be. Strong, purposeful, and destined for victory. You cannot conquer the voices of doubt while living in an environment that feeds them. There are people, places, and atmospheres that whisper insecurity into your spirit without ever raising their voices. Sometimes it's not what is said directly, but what is implied. The subtle discouragements, the constant negativity, the lack of support, the absence of faith. If you are surrounded by those who speak small, think small, expect small, then your dreams will begin to shrink to fit the environment you tolerate. Your environment is either watering your purpose or suffocating it. There comes a season when you must evaluate who is walking with you. Some are connected to your history, but not to your destiny. They liked you when you stayed small, when your dreams were quiet, when your vision didn't threaten their comfort. But when you begin to grow, when you start believing for more, reaching for more, preparing for more, suddenly their attitudes shift. They question your motives. They downplay your progress. They remind you of the limitations they've accepted for themselves, hoping you will sit beside them in the smallness they've chosen. But hear this, your future requires voices that call you higher, not people who anchor you lower. You cannot speak victory while entertaining the chorus of defeat around you. If every conversation leaves you doubting your ability, questioning your purpose, shrinking your dreams, then perhaps the issue is not your ambition, but your circle. Some people are not bad, they're just not built for where you're going. They lack the faith to believe on the level you're striving for. They cannot see the greatness in you because they refuse to see the greatness in themselves. Their sight is limited, and you cannot allow small vision to shape big purpose. There are seasons where alignment matters more than comfort. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create distance from relationships that numb your passion. Not everyone can walk with you into the next chapter, because not everyone has the strength to believe alongside you. Some carry doubt like a garment, and if you stay too close, you will begin to wear their fear as your own. You start thinking like them, speaking like them, limiting yourself like them. But you were created for more than where they stopped. Growth requires separation. Purpose requires discernment. You must be intentional about who speaks into your life. Seek voices that challenge you to rise, not settle. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your steps forward, even when they are small. People who don't feel threatened by your progress, who aren't intimidated by your elevation, who encourage you when you cannot encourage yourself. These are the people who call greatness out of you, who remind you of your identity when insecurity tries to steal it. The right environment does not necessarily make the journey easy, but it fuels you with strength. In the right circle, you find accountability, faith, wisdom, and courage. You hear voices that tell you, keep pushing, you're almost there, don't stop now. In that atmosphere, doubt cannot thrive. Fear may knock, but it cannot stay. Insecurity may whisper, but it will not win. The right voices create an internal climate where belief grows strong. Guard your environment like a garden. Protect what is planted in you. If weeds of negativity begin to grow, you pull them up before they take root. If fear tries to enter, you shut it out before it settles. You do not owe access to everyone. Access is a privilege, one you must reserve for those who nurture your purpose, not those who diminish it. You are on assignment, and assignment requires alignment. You must walk with people headed toward purpose, not drifting toward complacency. When you align yourself with faith-filled voices, your steps gain confidence. Your decisions become clearer. Your dreams become reachable. You begin to see what is possible instead of what is probable. The environment you choose shapes the future you build. Surround yourself with those who speak life, and watch your life transform. Every struggle you've endured has been working for your good, even when it didn't feel like it. The pain you thought would crush you was actually shaping you, strengthening you, building you into someone capable of carrying the weight of your calling. You may not have realized it, but every tear watered the ground beneath your feet, preparing it for harvest. Pain is not wasted. It is a teacher. It introduces you to parts of yourself that comfort would never reveal. It shows you your endurance, your resilience, your capacity to rise again when everything around you falls apart. There are seasons when life feels like a storm without end. The winds of disappointment blow hard. The rain of rejection pours down. Plans collapse, relationships break, Opportunities disappear. You cry out, wondering why you're walking through so much. But hear this, what tried to break you is building you. The pressure you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. Diamonds are born from pressure. Gold is purified through fire. Steel is forged in heat. Nothing strong is made in comfort. You are being refined, not destroyed. Sometimes you pray for strength, and God sends situations that require it. You ask for growth, so you enter seasons that stretch you. You ask for purpose, so you are pushed into places that demand more of you than you thought you had. Pain becomes the instrument that unlocks what comfort could not. You learn to stand tall because you were forced to kneel. You learn to fight because you faced battles. You learn to believe because doubt tried to steal your future. Every hardship is designed to teach you something about yourself, about life, about God, about purpose. Pain prepares you by revealing who is truly for you. When everything is easy, people gather, but when everything falls apart, only the true remain. Trials separate loyalty from convenience, truth from illusion. The absence of certain voices in your darkest moments is not loss, it is clarity. It is God showing you who cannot go with you into the next season. Pain prunes your relationships, so only what is necessary survives. Pain also develops your character. It humbles you, deepens you, makes you compassionate. You begin to see people differently because you know what struggle feels like. You can speak life into others because you've walked through death-like seasons. You can encourage the broken because you've been broken. You can lift others because you once needed lifting. Your pain becomes a bridge connecting you to those who walk the road you once suffered on. It gives your voice weight and your heart wisdom. And while pain is a teacher, it is also a builder. It builds discipline, perseverance, patience. It teaches you to keep going when quitting feels easier. It teaches you that you are stronger than you ever believed. You didn't survive because it was easy. You survived because there is something in you that refuses to die. That strength was always there, but it took the storm to reveal it. Preparation is often disguised as difficulty. You only realize what was being built when you step into the place you were prepared for. There are times when you look back on what you endured and realize that without that struggle, you would not have been ready for where you are now. The doors that are opening today required the skill, the faith, the maturity you gained yesterday. Had you stepped into your purpose before you were prepared, you might have fumbled it. But now, after the pain, you are ready, you understand more, you see clearer, you trust deeper, you are no longer easily shaken, because you've already survived the shaking. What tried to take you out was actually training you. What tried to bury you was planting you. What felt like the end was the beginning of preparation. Pain is never enjoyable, but it is always purposeful. It is creating capacity within you, capacity to carry blessing, to steward opportunity, to walk in victory. So do not despise the struggle. Let it teach you. Let it refine you. Let it prepare you. Because when the time comes and victory arrives, you will realize you were made ready by everything you endured. Your purpose will never reach its full expression while you remain seated in hesitation. There is greatness within you that has been waiting, sometimes for years, for you to take action. Purpose is not passive. It requires movement. It demands motion. It begs for obedience. You may feel unqualified, unsure, or unprepared, but calling does not wait for convenience. It shows up and asks one thing. Asterisk, asterisk, will you move? Asterisk, asterisk, so many are waiting for perfect conditions. the right moment, the guaranteed outcome, but purpose doesn't respond to conditions. It responds to courage. There will never be a moment when everything feels ready. Destiny rarely arrives in neat packaging. It shows up disguised as opportunity, as challenge, as responsibility. Every person who walked into greatness did so with trembling hands and a courageous heart. They stepped forward without knowing how every detail would unfold, without the comfort of absolute certainty. Their step activated their journey. If you wait to have all the answers before you move, you will miss what was meant for you. Purpose reveals itself step by step, not all at once. You learn the next chapter only after turning the page. There is a voice inside that tries to convince you that you are not qualified, but purpose is not granted to the qualified. It qualifies those who answer it. You don't grow stronger by standing still. You grow by stepping into what feels bigger than you. The very things that scare you are often the things that shape you. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you are destined to be. You can dream all day, but until you move, the dream remains a seed. Seeds only grow when they are planted, not when they are admired. Sometimes the delay is not external, it's internal. Many have buried their calling beneath excuses. You tell yourself you'll start when the timing is right, or when you know more, or when someone helps. But the truth is this: purpose waits on no one. It responds to obedience. It responds to faith. It responds to willingness. When you begin, doors appear that you never saw before. People show up you never would have met otherwise. Provision aligns with mission, but none of it unlocks until you move. You were not created to simply survive. You were created to contribute. There is something on the inside of you that the world needs. Someone's healing, someone's hope, someone's breakthrough is connected to your obedience. When you act, you give others permission to believe that they too can rise. Your courage becomes a catalyst. Your movement becomes a map. You never know who is watching you, quietly gathering strength from your steps. There are dreams lying dormant because action never came. Talent without activation becomes frustration. Vision without pursuit becomes regret. There will come a day when you look back at the opportunities you didn't take and realize they were doors to your destiny. That's why today matters. Purpose is never discovered in perfection. It's discovered in motion. When you start, even if you stumble, you learn, you adjust, you grow. Every step clarifies. Every moment teaches. Every move reveals. You cannot continue to wait for permission from people who don't understand your calling. Not everyone will celebrate you. Not everyone will believe in you. But their approval is not required. Purpose isn't voted on. It is assigned. And once assigned, it is your responsibility to walk in it. The voices of fear may speak, but they do not get the final say. The path may be unfamiliar, but you are guided. The journey may be long, but you are equipped. You must begin, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if no one sees you yet. Small obedience leads to great impact. Every masterpiece begins with a single stroke. Every journey begins with a first step. Faith is not a feeling. It is movement. It believes enough to begin, even without a guarantee. And once you start, momentum becomes your ally. What felt impossible yesterday becomes normal tomorrow. Your assignment is waiting. Your future is calling. Stop standing on the edge of what you were created to do. Step into it. Activate your purpose. Walk forward with shaky knees if you must, but walk, because victory belongs to those who move. Your words are powerful, more powerful than the doubt that tries to silence you, more powerful than the fear that attempts to hold you hostage. Long before victory shows up in your hands, it must first be spoken from your mouth. What you declare sets the atmosphere around you. When you speak life, life begins to take shape. When you speak possibility, roads rise beneath your feet. But when you speak defeat, you build walls around your future that were never meant to stand. You must learn to declare victory even when you cannot yet see evidence of it. There will be moments when everything around you looks contrary to what you believe. The situation speaks failure. The people around you speak negativity. The circumstances speak limitation. But you must speak something different. You must speak from a place of faith, not from a place of fear. Faith is not based on what is seen. Faith is based on what is promised. Don't wait for the situation to shift before you speak. Speak, so the situation begins to shift. Your words are seeds. They go ahead of you and prepare your future. You cannot expect victory while consistently declaring defeat. If you wake up telling yourself you're not enough, if you whisper that things will never change, if you predict failure before you try, you sabotage the very ground you're trying to walk on. Words create worlds. What you speak over your life either opens doors or closes them. That is why you must discipline your tongue. You can't speak doubt and expect faith to grow. You can't speak fear and expect courage to rise. You can't speak lack and expect abundance to flow. Speak what you desire, not what you dread. Some of the greatest victories in life began as declarations made during impossible seasons. People who spoke healing while they were still sick, who spoke restoration while everything was broken, who spoke hope when all they felt was pain. Victory must be claimed before it is carried. When you speak what you believe, you align your heart, your actions, and your decisions with that belief. Suddenly, you start making choices that match your expectation. You begin to think differently, move differently, dream differently, because your words trained your mind to see possibility instead of limitation. There is a voice inside you that must be louder than the doubt around you. Doubt will always try to shout. It will remind you of past failures, past heartbreak, past attempts that didn't work. But your voice must answer back. Speak to the mountain, speak to the valley, speak to the storm. Speak as if the victory is already yours, because spiritually it is. The declaration comes before the manifestation. Farmers do not wait for fruit before believing they sowed well. They plant with expectation. Your words are your seeds. Plant them with faith. Sometimes your greatest assignment is to speak when you feel nothing, to declare when everything in you says it's over, to hope when hope feels foolish. That is where power is born, not in comfort but in conviction. You must practice speaking life over yourself. Affirm who you are. Affirm where you are going. Affirm the promise that is over your life. You are not speaking to impress others. You are speaking to instruct your soul, to shape your future, to silence the enemy. Even in moments of silence, when no one is watching, your words matter. Whisper victory in the dark. Say it before you sleep. Say it when you wake. Let your language shift before your life does. Once your language changes, your mindset changes. And once your mindset changes, your behavior follows. Victory is not only something you walk into, it is something you speak into existence. It is easy to declare triumph once it arrives, but real faith speaks it before it appears. Celebrate before the breakthrough. Praise before the miracle. Prepare before the blessing shows up. Your preparation is proof that you believe what you have spoken. If you speak rain is coming, then build a shelter. If you speak harvest is coming, then prepare the fields. That alignment between your words and your actions is where divine power flows. So speak boldly, speak consistently, speak intentionally, speak victory until victory becomes your reality. Because what you declare today is building the tomorrow you will walk into. Your words are not empty. They are building stones. Lay them with purpose. Speak life, and life will begin to answer. Speak victory, and victory will begin to draw near.